All right, well, gentlemen, we are
Yeah,
live.
we're on.
We are live. I am the representative here at BCH Bliss, just hanging out in the after party room, I guess. But we have some special guests here joining us. A couple more are going to be joining us soon. Jason Dreyzehner, the creator of the new chip we are celebrating today, and of course, John, Emergent Reasons of General Protocols. Gentlemen, hello. How are you doing today? You just want to maybe give a brief introduction for, I'm sure, the very few that don't know you guys, and how you feel about today's upgrade.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Jason Dreyzehner. I have done worked on several upgrades for Bitcoin Cash. I worked on the chip for VM limits and this 2025 upgrade. And yeah, very excited.
John, if you can give your introduction as well.
Yes. So, hello, everyone. I'm John Nieri, also known as Emergent Reasons. I work with General Protocols, and we are trying to be entrepreneurs and bringing P2P electronic cash to you and to everyone in the world, as many people as we can. That's what we're working on every day.
Awesome. And then we just had joined in was Mr. David Shattuck, the creator of A Fifth of Gaming. David joined us last year at Bliss, not here this year, but thank you so much for joining in live. David, if you want to just give us a brief introduction for the few that may not know you, and how are you feeling about today's upgrade?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. It is a joy to join the stream. I am genuinely sorry that I wasn't able to be there in person this year. I had an absolute blast at Bliss 1, and I was very excited for Bliss 2. So yeah, I was again, sometimes life just happens, but yeah, as Ryan said, my name is David Shattuck. I'm the creator of A Fifth of Gaming, which is an online video game platform for organizing both casual and competitive video game events that runs entirely on Bitcoin Cash. So it very much exists in the space that Fiendish and Corbin are always calling for, which is that crypto at some levels should be fun. I'm also the author of Bitcoin Cash Client, which is the C# library that serves as an abstraction layer between AFOG and the BCH network. So it's just for kind of native BCH communication for any internet connected .NET application. So that's me.
Awesome. If I could bring some general sentiment from the conference, I'm not sure how much you guys were able to watch over the past 3 days, but this upgrade, being one that I think most people are looking forward to from a privacy perspective of what's possible, capable. And Jason, I know I've heard you've been doing some deeper research on that. If you could maybe speak to the community on what VM limits means to the community, and also what it means in terms of potentially privacy features.
Yeah. At the kind of most basic level, VM limits now allows most kind of purely financial applications to never have to worry about the Bitcoin Cash virtual machines limits. There are very few financial calculations across most markets, and including kind of the calculations required in market makers and derivatives markets. A lot of the loan applications, things you see on other cryptocurrency chains, those applications are so minimal compute wise that the VM limits should just never really be a concern for most of them. It also, by getting our limits into a more stable place, makes it really viable to create much more complex cryptography based applications where you're actually doing cryptographic math in the contract language. And for a long time, we sort of, the wider Bitcoin development community sort of assumed that would be crazy and not work. It wouldn't be very performant. But in general, those are sort of misconceptions. Our programming model, our architecture allows even things that would seem to be inefficient. It allows them to be very highly parallelized and to not really be a problem for overall network throughput. And actually, the way that the limits have worked for a very long time, we have already given attackers far more rope, if you will, than we were giving honest contract authors that are working on privacy applications or even just simple financial applications. So the limits upgrade this year does really kick the door in on privacy application development. There were a lot of kind of cryptographic strategies, zero knowledge proof systems, snarks and starks and etc. that were technically possible to build on Bitcoin Cash since 2023 by breaking apart the computation. But now they're surprisingly practical. They're still not single transaction extremely practical, but only for essentially aesthetic kind of code reasons. Like we don't have loops, so you have to copy and paste the code. So the limits themselves have opened up the door for a lot of much more straightforward application development, both on the financial kind of financial computations route, and then also in zero knowledge proofs and privacy application development, where you could build, and what I've talked about a little bit is that it's possible to build covenant systems that work sort of like you can imagine other cryptocurrencies working on top of Bitcoin Cash, where you can build the very same privacy technology that works on Monero or Zcash or other privacy chains. You can build them as Bitcoin Cash covenants, and then from a user perspective, the user's wallet can send some Bitcoin Cash to that covenant, essentially deposited in a privacy covenant, and keep notes in the wallet that are sort of claims for what's going on inside that covenant. And then anyone who is using those privacy covenants can send transactions that have some inputs and some outputs, or one input, one output with that covenant. And the rest of the chain has no idea how much, what the value or the inputs and the output addresses, what's going on inside the covenant. They can only see what happens ultimately later when somebody withdraws from one of those privacy covenants. So that's kind of the high level conception of how a new strategy that becomes available for Bitcoin Cash. And of course, Bitcoin Cash already has great privacy with Cash Fusion, so it's adding to our existing available privacy toolkit. But yeah, strictly speaking, the upgrades, the upgrade this year really opens the door for a lot of that development. In a lot of cases, it still requires breaking apart the contract across multiple inputs or multiple transactions, because we don't have loops and we don't have function calls. So you have to copy and paste a lot of code. So it's sort of a silly final step we need to bridge, is having function calls and loops. But strictly speaking, we can do a lot of privacy applications much more efficiently, even than we were able to do in 2023. Probably a couple orders of magnitude. And there are cases that have been demonstrated on both where zero knowledge proofs of various constructions were validated with the script language. And from our perspective, most of those constructions are already like 100 times more efficient on Bitcoin Cash. So, you know, they're taking like 28 megabytes of transactions on one of them, or in the on the BTC world, there was a zero knowledge proof, which, you know, was debatable, which was validated in something like 400 transactions, like $600 in transaction fees or something. But like, very simply speaking, to build those on Bitcoin Cash, if you wanted to build them without loops and function evaluation, we're down to something like $10 or so for the transaction fees per transaction. Still sort of unreasonable, but it's not a unbroachable gap. The gap really is just stopping all the copy and paste. So the hard task of of making those user-facing applications viable in real use cases that actual users want to use because it's a reasonable cost. The hardest step of that was getting our limits in a place where they're safe for the network, but allow honest contract authors to develop without spending most of their time on workarounds. That's what it is.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
A huge cost those workarounds that's really not an insignificant thing. We spent years making workarounds for AnyHedge back in 2018, 2019. So it's very real.
Awesome. John, if you want to, just so everyone knows, and we're going to have one more guest joining us here in just a minute. We are speaking to the room of the BLISS conference. It's full of developers that are excited for the further tooling and implementation of, what is possible through the protocol. But John, if you want to give us an update on, what's the latest with you and general protocols. I got to speak to some of your team while we were here, and if you want to say hi, and your counterpart just walked into the room as well.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I'd really like to actually take a baton pass on that one, because there's all this work that's happened on the consensus levels since 2018, like these, and that's been accelerating. Like the quality and power of the changes has been accelerating. And but there's a valid question, which is, okay, so we have all this power, and why haven't we seen like a real explosion of apps? We have seen a growth of apps. Like there's a bunch of real apps out there, right, with significant usage, value locked, and volume. But we haven't seen that real explosion like happened with Ethereum back in the day. And we know the answer to that, which is what we have been talking about for years, which is the native wallets. So even if you have the biggest, most powerful engine, as an analogy, if you don't have the transmission to get that power onto the road, you're not going to go anywhere. And that's what General Protocols is spending a lot of our time working on right now. We call it the XO stack. And this is bringing the full power of all these consensus upgrades in a very easy to use package to developers, so that entrepreneurs who have an idea can just go from that idea and build it like they do with any other web app. And of course, that's not just us. That's also CashScript. It all works together. We're all incentivized to work together, and the sum of everybody working together is much greater than the sum of just the parts themselves. So yeah, we're working on XO to bring all this power that they've made into the hands of entrepreneurs and builders, including ourselves, so that we can make all the apps that we've dreamed of, and bringing that to users, so that when you have your wallet and you can just participate in distributed apps, dApps or DeFi or any kind of app that you want to participate in, it'll just be very easy, as opposed to what it's been in the past. That's a lot of what we spend our time working on right now.
Very cool. I got a chance to see the user interface of it here from the General Protocols team. Very nice, very slick. Excited to see it. Any update on when that might be available to the market?
Yeah, we're gonna have some demo apps so that people can see how a dApp would work. It's kind of like the MetaMask moment, more or less. We're aiming to provide the MetaMask moment for BCH, where devs just come in and they're like, oh my God, I can do this. This isn't that hard anymore. And so we'll have some dApps that we can put out on the internet, and people will be able to get in there and look at them and try it out, and see how it works, and see how it works with the video. So that'll be in a few months. And then by the end of the year, we'll have some alpha or beta releases of the stack, so that people can start integrating it themselves, because we're going to release a wallet, the XO wallet, but the real point is the XO stack, right? And this is a whole kind of foundation for us and others to build wallets and dApps with.
Very cool. David, I remember last year at the upgrade, you posted something very cool. I remember, the feather in your cap that you're always worried about with BCH was ABLA. And the sentiment was very exciting about the last year that we had taken care of that. And I guess my question, how are you feeling about this year's upgrade, and what is the latest with you, my man?
I'm feeling absolutely fantastic about it. Shout out to Jason, shout out to everyone else that has contributed code to this project. Congratulations for another silky smooth upgrade. I, am very hesitant to speak about these kinds of things with such an august group here. Like, Jason and John are pretty heavy hitters here. But yeah, generally speaking, I also am very much of the opinion that Bitcoin Cash would do well to have improved privacy tools. Whatever that looks like, encryption is going to be involved. And whenever encryption is involved, big numbers are going to be involved. So just from a layman's perspective, like, yeah, hey, fantastic. But also, I want to kind of springboard off of what was off of what Emergent was saying about the possible acceleration of growth of projects spinning up. I too am optimistic for that as a result of this upgrade. If for no other reason, just from my own story, I have to confess, I have not yet tinkered with any of this stuff yet, any of the cash grip stuff. I have safely stayed in my happy place, which is .NET. Like, I'm working in the very unsexy environment of C#, which is where, the sort of corporations that have cubicle farms, they're the people that use C#, and I'm hoping will eventually need what I'm making. But part of the reason I have kind of resisted diving into this is because I keep hearing from the Jasons and the Johns of the world of how much of a hassle it is. Like, this limits, it's just such a nightmare, and there's all these opcode. It's just I'm like, well, let me know when you guys get that sorted, then I'll jump into it.
What I meant to say was it's super easy. That's what I meant
super
to
easy.
say.
Yeah, we spent years with the workarounds. Like, okay, well, have fun with that. But yeah, so like, from the outside looking in, what I'm hearing now from these people is like, okay, the road is smoother now. Like, the lazy devs, like the David Shattocks of the world, can now jump in and start playing with it with a much easier spin up. I was very excited to see Sayoshi published recently, sort of a tutorial onboarding thing. So I'm going to go into that soon. By the way, Sayoshi, this is still my favorite shirt. Thank you very much for making them. I hope you get back in the shirt business someday. So yeah, all that to say, I am delighted, because thinking back over the years of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash's history, having like multiple consecutive, just easy peasy upgrades where the improvements were like carefully discussed, thoroughly researched, exhaustively tested and vetted, and then it just, flip of a switch, the mining of a block, now it's live, and now Moria's running, and it's just, I don't know. Everything seems great to me. Maybe I'm just being a stubborn optimist, but thumbs up from my point of view.
Well, I want to take time to bring on a special guest. You cannot see him at the moment, but if you could reveal yourself, if possible. You guys may know him. We'll just chat in the chat here.
There we go.
Mr. Veer.
Hello, everyone. So just want to thank you guys for carrying the torch and continuing to push peer-to-peer cash for the entire world. Like, it's such an important thing, and it feels like it's getting more and more important as each month goes by, with the world getting crazier and crazier. Like, the world really needs peer-to-peer electronic cash. And I think every BCH fan is a peer-to-peer cash maximalist of whatever works. And just want to thank all of you for being part of this amazing community. Even though I've been distracted by some political nonsense as a political prisoner recently, but I'm hoping to get all of that behind me shortly, because I am 100% innocent, and just want to assure everybody that this is just 100% political nonsense from the Biden era administration, and hopefully the new administration will fix the wrongs of the past about my case. But yeah, hopefully it'll be behind me soon.
Yeah. No, the community definitely misses you, Roger. We're actually speaking in front of a live room right now. It's kind of the post conference interview, so that everyone's getting a chance to see you. So it means a lot to the community. I know you're very busy, and hopefully you can join us at a conference here in the. And I just got to note that you got a round of applause from the whole room. They're very, very grateful for you to take the time today. And yeah, I'm sure you're busy. Have you been able to keep up lately with the latest upgrade that Jason brought to the network and the privacy potentials of it? Where are you at in following the BCH ecosystem today?
I've been trying to follow it as much as I can, but I've been following my lawyer's advice even more, and lots of lawyer phone calls and emails and this and that. And actually, any minute now they're going to call me back with another update, and who knows? Maybe I'll have some good news. I don't know. I've been hearing next week for the entire time since I've got arrested. Oh, they'll drop the charges next week. They'll drop the charges next week, and I've been hearing that every week for over a year now that I've been stuck here in Spain. But luckily, I'm out on bail. I was only in jail for about a month in Spain. But I will always, have a warm and dear place in my heart towards the way the U.S. government has treated me. So, but I think it'll all be behind me here shortly. That's the hope. So
yeah, we'd love to break that news here at BCH Bliss that Roger Vere's free. That'd be wonderful, but hopefully
maybe next year we'll be able to do that. Now, I've been to Ljubljana multiple times. Like, what an amazing city there too, with just like the cryptocurrency adoption. So special thanks to the guys over at Go Crypto, and Dreyzehner and his whole team have just been amazing at rolling out crypto all across Europe. They've just been incredible, and I was lucky enough to have been one of their investors as well. So that's been a real fun journey with them.
Awesome. Well, I'll open up to the panelists. If you guys, I know Roger may be on tight time today. If anyone wants to catch up with him,
I'm free until the lawyers call, but the lawyers are going to call in a moment. So.
But if anyone else wants to say hi to Roger, catch up.
I do want to say a big thank you. I had prepared, because I didn't know if we were going to be having a conversation or doing little speeches or whatever, and I had prepared. And one of the big parts of what I had prepared as a little speech was thanks to all the the shoulders of all the giants that we've built upon, because there's a lot of that has happened, and Roger, obviously, I mean, I'm sure everybody here has heard it, but a huge percent of the people involved in BCH were possibly personally onboarded, by Roger, or the messages from you, Roger, and so forth. So there's some very tall soldiers that you gave us to keep going on top of. So thank you so much for that.
It's been my pleasure, and I've enjoyed every moment of it as well. And I think it's kind of shows just how right we are that I've been following a little bit of the recent BTC politics, and basically they're arguing about doing the things that we already did years ago to make BCH right. And they're trying to figure out how to undo the problems that they've already caused there. So it just kind of shows that we were right, but early is what it looks like. So.
Yeah, I was just telling someone the other day, it's not like it's easy what we've been doing in Bitcoin Cash. It's not like it's been easy, but we knew that it was the right thing to do, and it was the only way to eventually reach the goal, right? So even though it's the hard thing to do, it's the right thing to do. So here we are.
Yep. And I think that's true in life. Like the right path isn't always the easy path, but I saw so many people just want to be with the popular club, and they didn't care if it was the right club or that made sense at all. And that was true, I think, with the Bitcoin forks, and just true in politics as well. Like, so many people want to be on the popular side, even if it doesn't make any sense. And they're scared to call out the emperor for having no clothes. But I think most of the BCH crowd are willing to stand up and do what they think is correct, even if it's not the popular thing at the moment.
Yeah, but just an example that Roger at the conference, we had a nano developer here, trying to talk about proof of stake and how potential down the road, security as a security budget runs out, a solution, and it's a very noble community that it's adoption or die. This is the protocol we pick. It's a very it's one thing you really appreciate, very to the basics of what we built, and going back from even the early Satoshi days. And I saw Jason was, as we're talking about block size times and going deep into early Satoshi paperwork, but just the ethos of peer-to-peer cash. And but yeah, no, it's adding to what you're saying, John. It's very much what's the word? Philosophically driven.
Yeah. And even practically driven. So Roger, I know obviously privacy is a big important topic for you, and I'm not sure how much of what Jason was saying you've caught or the recent discussions in BCH, but the upgrade today, especially the upgrade today, together with the others that have happened in the past, is unlocking the situation on BCH such that we can take on BCH more or less any of the privacy schemes that you see elsewhere, like Monero or Zcash or somebody else who has a privacy scheme that's baked into their consensus. And now we can use that. We can use those protocols on BCH. So you can use the ZK proof based transactions, or you can use the Monero protocol based transactions, we can start to build those apps where people can participate in those at a large scale. So BCH is definitely moving ahead on the privacy front as well. I think you'll appreciate that, and it's something everyone will appreciate. Yeah.
Thank you for that, John. My lawyers just texted me. I have to jump in the room with him again and chat with him some more. But thank
Take
you all.
care.
Hopefully I'll be back full time in the cryptocurrency ecosystem there. And thank you to everybody involved in BCH as well. See you guys.
Thank you,
Best of
Roger.
luck.
Thank you for joining us.
Take care, Roger.
All right. I'm sure the room was happy.
Yeah, I can imagine how privacy becomes very easily imagine how that becomes your number one priority when you've got literal governments trying to pry into your business, even though you've done nothing wrong. So, yeah,
it's all fun and games until the jackboots come knocking. Suddenly encryption and privacy is very important.
Yes. And nice thing with the ZK proofs is that it's not only about transactions. You can also do information privacy, right? Where if you have some party that you trust to maintain your personal information, you can go to your, the bar or whatever it is, and they say, hey, are you 18? And you provide a ZK proof that, yes, indeed, I am 18 from this trusted source. And you don't get to see all my private data, but you can trust because of this ZK proof that I am indeed 18 years old or whatever the age that you need to pass is, So it's not only about transactions, but it's about identity as well, and being able to have control of your identity and keep it private. It's really powerful stuff that's coming up.
Yeah. Another big popular thing at the conference was the stablecoins that have been created in the ecosystem. Mariah, I think, is officially launched with what they're calling their V1. What are you guys' thoughts about stable coins in BCH and the way we're building them? Obviously different than like the tethers of the USDCs. Just curious to see how you guys are seeing that ecosystem develop. We'll start with Jason.
Very excited. Bitcoin Cash is particularly well suited for censorship resistant projects of that type. I think we're head and shoulders the most censorship resistant place to deploy stable coins and other similar tech, not just in the for kind of large users, but for average daily users. There are a lot of kind of daily censorship resistance needs that cannot be met if you don't have low transaction fees and pretty good scalability. So for talking about political persecution and that area of human challenges, Bitcoin Cash is in a really good position to offer much more financial freedom than any other cryptocurrency can currently, between proof of work as a censorship resistance feature, where the mining set has the credible threat of going fully anonymous, and that there is there are no identities to chase down and threaten from the block validator standpoint. And Bitcoin Cash has a proven history of it not working when you chase down and threaten developers. So or rather of developing in another direction if you do that, potentially. So I think we're in a really good spot for those sorts of projects to demonstrate just how strong of a position Bitcoin Cash is in for offering censorship resistant products like that. And yeah, very, very excited to see us starting to flex our wings there, having a couple projects already announced, and Moria and Parity USD both announced their projects May 15th. And yeah, I'm excited for this next year. Certainly, I think there's a lot of other in some ways low-hanging fruit that is common on other chains that can come rather rapidly to Bitcoin Cash. The barriers are out of the way as far as financial calculations are concerned with a virtual machine, and things are getting better rapidly. Some important improvements possibly on the horizon for 2026. We're in a great position.
Awesome. John, if you could share too, and possibly with the new wallet you're coming out with, is tokens going to be a part of the opening feature? And what are your thoughts about a lot of things we talk about here too when onboarding other people that don't want to deal with price, functioning or fluctuating. Sorry, I can't find the word. Is that going to be one of the new features? And how are you feeling about the stablecoin market in BCH?
Yeah, 3 or 4 thumbs up on all those things you said. Yes, we want to make it easy to use. Obviously, as Sakib mentioned, he has onboarded a whole gaggle of highly intelligent, highly accomplished surgeons, and they pretty much all lost their BCH. Right? So you gotta have the usability has got to be higher. The tokens, the tokens have to be in there. I mean, cash tokens is now an absolute integral part of any any modern app going forward is going to be using cash tokens in some way or another. And so that's like non-negotiable. Yeah, that's absolutely going to be built in as a native thing from the beginning. Now, AnyHedge didn't use it because cash tokens didn't exist back when we made it in 2018-19. So, right, we're like the old Model T, but whatever. I'm happy to be the Model T. Regarding a different aspect of it, though, which is the one that I come from it naturally, which is the entrepreneur aspect and the competition aspect, I'm super looking forward to that, right? To some kind of battle, cooperation, competition between general protocols and the shadow wizards and Mathieu and Sayoshi and the gurus and the Journal of One Surgery. Like, all of this stuff is going to be some kind of amazing mix of cooperation and competition. And the only thing that's sure is that there's going to be a big win that comes out of it, right? Like there's going to be usage increasing, more users coming in, more ideas coming in as other people look at it and be like, oh, these guys have missed it. I have an even better idea. I know an even better way to do this, right? And this is where things are going to start to snowball. So I'm looking forward to that so much. And I think the stable coins is kind of where that's starting, right? Because AnyHedge was created for stability. There was no such thing as cash tokens and so forth. But we came up with AnyHedge in order to provide a stability solution. And it's been enormously successful, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars of volume going through AnyHedge contracts. And a lot of that is people seeking stability. And on the other side, people who just want to degen and bet on the price going up or down. So we know that it works. And I'm looking forward to the competition and just stablecoins just being the tip of the iceberg and everything else that's going to take off after that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of it. Ryan, I think you muted if you were talking. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that he's asking you to talk, David.
What is it? Same question. The original question was choppy. The question is about stablecoins and if they're awesome and stuff. Cool. Yeah, I happily speak to that. So I was very excited at BLISS last year with the announcement of Moria. I like stablecoins, whether we like it or not, are a very important part of the cryptocurrency space, at least until we reach the end of the fiat era, which I think is probably still a ways off. But even then, stablecoins can be linked to other things. But anyway, the big problem with, I'll call them the primary stablecoins, the Tethers and the USDCs of the world, is that they are fundamentally just hundreds of billions of IOUs that are floating around out there. And the inherent value of those IOUs is a function of how much the issuers are willing to pay when people come knocking asking for their things to be redeemed. Now, for 7 years have been telling people that their Tether's going to collapse any day now, but they're still chugging along. So who knows how much longer that's going to be. But fundamentally, decentralized stablecoins, I think, are very important and very valuable. I was a big fan of DAI, like the MakerDAO contract and the DAI mechanism several years ago, back when I was tinkering in the Ethereum space, if for no other reason that it provides a mechanism by which people can unlock and put to use their collateral, their capital that they have in cryptocurrency without losing their exposure to the price fluctuations. Like, I like very much Bitcoin Cash, and I very much want to have some of it in my possession, but it would also be nice if I could put some of that value to work doing other things. And a system like Moria is fantastic for that. And I was very excited this year to see parity being announced, because healthy competition is always fantastic. Like if some problem is discovered in one, there's another one. The two teams can collaborate and challenge each other to be better. And whenever there's competition kind of in a free and open space, inevitably there's going to be improvement. Iron sharpens iron, so to speak. So all that to say, I was very happy with the announcement yesterday that Moria is actually live today, and there's already been like tens of thousands of MUSD coins minted. So congratulations to that team. I'm excited to see what comes next.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Oh yeah,
There you are.
much better.
All right, much better. Sorry. So yeah, I think the lending feature of it's like super interesting. Me as a business owner, that we hold Bitcoin Cash on our balance sheet, and being able to access that for other things without losing exposure to the potential upside and have reasonable liquidation levels. It seems like a no-brainer from a business perspective. So I think it's game changing. But gentlemen, we are probably going to have to unfortunately move to closing statements because the conference has dinner in about 5 minutes. So if you guys just want to give a closing send off to the community, and thank you so much for popping in and joining us at BLISS here. We really appreciate it. So we'll start back with Jason in the order we've been going.
Yeah, well, congratulations everyone again. Thank you to everybody who contributed on the chips, and thanks especially to Callan and the node developers, various implementations who had great feedback and did a lot of work on the actual deployment here. And yeah, keep on building. I'm very excited to see this next year of development.
Thank you for sharing, John.
Yes, thank you. So congratulations to Bitcoin Cash, to the whole ecosystem on another upgrade, another successful, super smooth, high benefit, low cost upgrade. It's amazing. And already people have practically just absorbed from the builder and entrepreneur's perspective, right? The whole VM limits is already it's already there. And we're already on thinking about the next things and the chip authors and so forth. So it's absolutely amazing to have that stability and everybody just moving ahead and looking forward. So congratulations to everyone on yet another year of stability and success. And I also wanted to make a quick shout out to a handful of people as well as everyone in whole. But Imaginary username, who was absolutely instrumental in the middle of the chaos that we have been through in the past, realizing that we really needed a process to replace what we had before, the benevolent dictator or whatever you want to see it as before. So thank you again so much to him for really clearly seeing that and getting us to a better place with the chip process and convincing us that it's an important thing. And of course, to all the chip writers, Jason, Bitcoin Cash authors, Tom Zender, Jonathan, everyone who's been involved with the chip writing and all those details of the actual changes that we're going to do. Fantastic success there. I kind of see it, I think, a little bit similar to Jason, kind of carving this masterpiece of P2P electronic cash for the world. And I think we're doing a bang up job of that. So congratulations to everyone and thank you to them. And then also a few more, I hope you'll forgive me here. Cheap Lightning, someone that I think many people know, but I still think despite how much people know him, they really don't realize how much work he does in the background. This invisible work that he's doing on ensuring that there's awareness among a really huge number of people, right? Like he's sending communication with hundreds of people to make sure that people are upgraded for this upgrade that we just went through and other issues, as well as putting out news on an extremely regular basis, flooding the the AIs with positive, constructive information about BCH. So huge shout out to him. And of course, for the conference, yourself, Ryan, Jonathan, Jeremy, Jet, everybody involved in organizing it. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys have gone from 0 to 100 and 2 years in a row. So thank you for doing that. At General Protocols, there's Sakib, Jim, Harvey, Gerard, Victor, John, Moriarty, Mathieu, Roscoe, you name, Jonathan, people we have worked even more people we have worked with in our history. It's been amazing working with you all. And I think all of you are amazing and true assets to the whole world. And we're going to make a difference. So that's mostly it. Of course, there's so many other people to mention. I can't mention everybody, but we're all taking part of it, making sure that this P2P electronic cash thing happens, sales, marketing, development, art, music, social media, memes, and whatever it is that you can do well, it's all part of it. So yeah, keep doing your thing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for sharing, John. Appreciate it, man. And David, send us off, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. I will keep it short. I know the food at the hotel there is amazing, and you guys must be hungry. It's dinner time, so yeah, I think John mentioned everyone, but I will. I'll come back around to the event organizers. I very strongly, very firmly believe that a conference like BLISS is very important, just for the kind of general health and well-being of the ecosystem. It's just a fantastic tool for bringing everyone together. So. Shout out to Ryan, Jeremy, and Jonathan. I know that this was a lot of work and that you have been working on it for months. And a special shout out to Jet. I know that your job is hard and complicated, and we really appreciate what you do. One final note: don't forget Street Fighter tournament is coming up in about an hour, so you don't want to miss that. But yeah, nothing but love to everyone. Thank you so much for participating in the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem and for attending BLISS. I hope to see you at BLISS 3. Wink.
Let's go, guys. All right. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to grab dinner.
See you all. Take care.